Hi everybody, it's Jim. Great Books, Big Ideas. I'm on a field trip, actually just back from a short field trip. A field trip across town. I didn't go very far, but one of my local book shops, used bookstores called More Than Books, formerly known as Second Reading 2. They were running a sale. Buy one book, get two books free. They have a lot of overstock. And I saw their advertisement, their post on Facebook, and I couldn't resist. So I did pick up some things. I also got a CD box set that I'll quickly mention. It wasn't on sale, but it's a super good price. So I'm currently sitting in the car. It's very, very cold out here, hence the scarf. My daughter knitted this wool scarf. It's the warmest thing ever. And my cap, 21 degrees as I sit here in the car. And it feels a lot colder than that. Anyway, it's nice that winter feels like winter for a change. But I want to just feature some of these books. So this will be a short haul. I'm also waiting because we have a parking situation where on Wednesdays I have to park on the other side of the street in the morning, and the street sweepers come through. Or else, if you don't do that, you get a ticket. And then after 11, I moved the car to this side of the street so I don't get a ticket tomorrow, because then they street sweep the other side. Anyway, I'm just keeping my eye on the rearview mirror so the cops don't nab me. I have about 13 minutes until I'm legal. So, I don't think they're going to be sweeping any streets with the snow on the ground and stuff, but so hopefully we'll get away with it. Anyway, just to get the CD box set out of the way, I couldn't resist this. Billie Holiday, The Legacy Years, 1933 to 1958. So it's 3 CDs worth of Billie Holiday with a nice booklet inside. One of the great jazz vocalists of all time. I couldn't pass that up for $10. But on to the books. I have 6 books. So I bought these, and I'll start with one of maybe the best find of the day, and that's Jules Laforgue or Laforgue Selected Poems, Penguin Classics. This is out of print, and it's in my Penguin Classics reference book. And Gavin I can't remember the name of your channel, but he's been doing a series of out of print penguins, and I'm sure he's talked about this book. But this book actually will cost you a pretty penny on eBay and other sites like that, because people know it's out of print. And anyway, so here's the blurb about this book. I was thrilled to find this. During a tragically short life, Jules Laforgue, 1860 to 87, created a poetic persona so powerful it decisively influenced the work of the young T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound. Deeply pessimistic yet full of yearning, tender yet savagely self-mocking, Laforgue has a unique voice and vision which nonetheless mark him out as one of the founding fathers of modernism. Like Baudelaire before him, he was determined to face up to the ugly and decadent as well as the conventionally poetic aspects of himself and the world about him. He pioneered the use of coarse colloquialism, startling rhymes, and invented words. His greatest achievement, the posthumous Dernier Vers, 1890, was the first complete French volume of free verse. Brilliantly effective in capturing the truth of fleeting impressions and inner sensations, this is also, writes his editor and translator Graham Dunstan Martin, one of the musical masterpieces of literature. So some poetry in translation. And oh, nice! It actually has the original French in there too, so that is awesome. I wonder if the whole thing is in French. I guess it has the translations down below. I didn't even look at this. I just grabbed it right away. I recognized the cover. It's been on my want list. So yeah, really excited to get that. Also got Cannery Row by John Steinbeck. I finished Travels with Charlie recently and really enjoyed it. So Steinbeck's been on my mind, and I'm pretty certain I don't have Cannery Row. I've got Arthur Rimbaud collected poems. So we've got a French poetry theme running here. This is with an introduction and prose translations by Oliver Bernard. The poet makes himself a seer by a long, prodigious, and rational disordering of all the senses. Rimbaud was 16 when he made this famous declaration. By 1886, then 32, and an explorer, trader, and slave trader on the Red Sea. Slave trader? No, that's not cool. He had absolutely no interest in the fate or success of the poetry infused with mysticism, alchemy, and magic that he had written in his teens. That same year in Paris, Les Illuminations was being published as the work of the late Arthur Rimbaud, first in a symbolist periodical, and then in book form with an introduction by his former lover, Verlaine. Seldom has a writer's vision of changing the world through words failed so spectacularly as did Rimbaud's. That failure turned him into an incomparable tragic poet, not only a wild, undisciplined genius, a mystic philosopher and thinker, an inspired poet, but also, according to Enid Starkey, one of the most finished artists, a supreme master of prosody and style. This Penguin Classic reproduces the text of the Pléiade edition, 1954, with selected letters and prose translations that have been acclaimed as quite outstanding. So intrinsically poetic that it comes as no surprise to find that Bernard writes original verse himself. That's by Robert Nye in the Times. So Arthur Rimbaud. And then I also got a Philip Roth novel. I offloaded nearly all of my Philip Roth. I had a lot of his books in hardcover, and I didn't read most of them. But I enjoyed American Pastoral so much that when I saw A Human Stain, I had to pick this up, because, especially given the sale prices. So what's this about? This is about race, isn't it? It got turned into a film, which I haven't seen. By turns unnerving, hilarious, and sad, it's a book that shows how the public zeitgeist can shape, even destroy an individual's life. Not only a philosophic bookend to American Pastoral, that's cool, but a large and stirring book as well. So here's the premise. It is 1998, the year in which America is whipped into a frenzy of prurience by the impeachment of a president, remember? And then in a small New England town, an aging classics professor, Coleman Silk, is forced to retire when his colleagues decree that he is a racist. The charge is a lie, but the real truth about Silk would astonish his most virulent accuser. Coleman Silk has a secret, one which has been kept for 50 years from his wife, his 4 children, his colleagues, and his friends, including the writer Nathan Zuckerman. It's another Zuckerman book. It is Zuckerman who stumbles upon Silk's secret and sets out to reconstruct the unknown biography of this eminent, upright man, esteemed as an educator for nearly all his life, and to understand how this ingeniously contrived life came unraveled, and to understand also how Silk's astonishing private history is, in the words of the Wall Street Journal, magnificently interwoven with the larger public history of modern America. That's A Human Stain. I've heard good things about this book, so I will give that a read hopefully soon. And then 2 more that I picked up. One was Gérard de Nerval, Selected Writings, another Penguin Classics. I read a little bit of Nerval in the Norton Anthology of Literature when I was teaching a survey course. I don't think I assigned him, but I did dabble in his work and was intrigued. So what's this about? Poet, visionary, short story writer, and autobiographer Gérard de Nerval, 1808 to 1855, explored the uncertain borderlines between dream and reality. Well, that's my wheelhouse. Irony and madness, I'm cool with that too. Autobiography and fiction, definitely something that I do in my own writing. with his groundbreaking writings. This comprehensive collection of his works includes Aurelia, the memoir of his madness, the haunting novella of love and memory, Sylvie, considered to be a masterpiece by Proust, well, that's high praise, the hermetic sonnets of the chimeras, as well as Nerval's experimental fictions and selections from his correspondence, which demonstrate his lucid awareness of how 19th century psychiatry consigned his fertile imagination to the status of mental illness. Together, these pieces confirm Nerval's place as a pioneering modernist, a precursor of the French symbolists, and a vital model for such writers as Marcel Proust, yay, André Breton, cool, Antoine Artaud, and Michel Léry. Richard Seabuth's vibrant translations are accompanied by an introduction exploring Nerval's extraordinary life in depth and discussing how the author, a contemporary of Poe, De Quincey, Gogol, and Heine, introduced German Romanticism into French literature. This edition also includes notes, further reading, and a chronology, as do many Penguin classics, which makes them so nice. So that was a good find. And then, I guess last but not least, Shirley Hazzard, The Transit of Venus. Don't know much about this book at all, but I love the title. I don't know why the title is so attractive to me, but I like it. It's the story of two beautiful orphan sisters whose fates are as moving and wonderful and yet as predestined as the transits of the planets themselves. Paris Review calls it one of the great English language novels of the 20th century. This award-winning literary masterpiece by the Australian novelist Shirley Hazzard follows Caroline and Grace Bell as they leave Australia to begin a new life in post-war England after their parents' tragic death, from Sydney to London, New York, and Stockholm, and from the 1950s to the 1980s. The two sisters experienced seduction and abandonment, marriage and widowhood, love and betrayal. The Transit of Venus is a story about the displacements and absurdities of modern life, at once an intricately plotted Greek tragedy, a sweeping family saga, and a desperate love story, all written in exquisite, breathtaking prose. Winner of the National Book Critics Circle Award for Fiction. Nice recent Penguin Classics edition, Transit of Venus. Looking forward to checking that Shirley Hazzard out for the first time. And that is my book haul. A small haul. I got the Billie Holiday CD box set. And then these titles. It's a nice morning jaunt to the bookstore. And I also finally offloaded my Heritage Press Baudelaire volume that I showed on the channel not long ago. Wasn't really a fan of the translations. It's a very nice volume though. And then I got rid of a few records and CDs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I'm going to go inside and get warm now. Looks like I didn't get a ticket. I got my parking spot all lined up, so we're good to go. Thanks, everybody. Stay warm. Bye-bye.